What's up, fight fans? I'm the reason MMA is still banned in New York, Tommy Toehold. Welcome to the Tap Nap Snap Radio Podcast. Let's do this shit!
All right, guys, welcome to the Tap Nap Snap Radio Podcast. I am your host, as always, Ken Quignon, and by my side is my partner in crime, Mr. Robbie Vaio. How you doing today, Robbie?
I am doing good. It's a new day for some people who may have had a bad shake, a little bit last year. They're feeling a little bit better today. Definitely a good day.
Yeah, I agree, and that leads right into our special guest today. While back, had some bad stuff happen, which we'll get into. But Shawn Valentin, thanks for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. How's everybody else doing?
Oh, doing wonderful, man.
It's definitely a good one.
It is. Quick backstory before we get into, modern day. It was in November. Was that right, Shawn?
Yes, November. Yeah. November 21st, I believe.
Yeah, November 21st of 2013. Shawn was in a fight and basically was posting up on a takedown and had his arm go the wrong way, basically, is the way to put it. We posted up about it, and, fans stepped up all around. Obviously, we were in contact with Shawn and, throughout this whole process. And, it was a terrible situation, but I guess, we can lead into the first question with that, Shawn. What was the outpouring like? Obviously, Zach, your friend, had contacted us, but as a whole, we didn't see it from your guys' angle. How did this all come down?
The injury?
Well, like the results from the fans. The injury, yeah. It was pretty graphic. We do have the video up of it, but yeah, it was graphic. But
for those who haven't seen it, and you've seen some of the old Pride fights, it was very similar to Mark Coleman and Shogun, who was takedown injury, but much more
very, very, very similar.
Much more graphic. You definitely beat them, dude. Just letting you know. You beat some legends on that one. Yeah, well,
I'll have to set that off in my bucket list then.
There you go.
But they had talked about the insurance, but this was more of a, trying to help you guys get through this in a rough time. How did it all work out? We tried to follow up, obviously we didn't get the inside track, but did everything work out? How's everything going now?
Everything did work out. Basically with the foundation, everything that was put together, basically helped me get through the holidays because I wouldn't be able to work. And I missed Thanksgiving. I was actually still in the hospital when Thanksgiving happened. So I actually had a few people. A buddy of mine, Rashad, he's actually he's an MMA fighter as well. He's an amateur fighter. He actually came all the way. I think he lives in Orange City or something, maybe. He came all the way out and brought me Thanksgiving dinner on Thanksgiving, and we picked out together and we chilled out for a little bit. And he had his daughter there, and so we kind of had that in common. We both have a daughter, and the donations and everything basically helped me get through Christmas. Get my daughter at Christmas, and it was absolutely great. Everything was hit on point. Nothing was missed. She didn't miss out on anything this Christmas, which it kind of brings tears to my eyes right now. But it really meant a lot to me to still be able to give her a Christmas, even though I wasn't able to work for it.
That's amazing, and it's friends, family, people stepping up. That's what the holidays are about. Me and Robbie are both fathers as well, so we definitely feel you on the providing aspect of it. But go ahead.
One of the things I was going to point out there is you often hear a lot of really negative stories about MMA in the media. You rarely hear about it's a really tight-knit group.
It really is.
Go ahead.
I really didn't understand, or I really didn't notice how exactly tight-knit the whole MMA community was until this happened to me, and I realized that how everybody came out of the woodwork. Everybody's throwing me positive messages. People, they've just seen me fight, just fans. Nobody I've never really, met personally, but they reached out, they donated money, or they gave nice words, wrote letters and things like that, and I really appreciate all that. just being an amateur, local fighter, you really wouldn't expect all that kind of outpouring. But it's really honored to have that.
No,
Yeah.
Understandable. It's just so many people have such a different view of mixed martial arts. They forget that the second word in mixed martial arts and the third word is martial arts, and there are a few things where people are more respectful to one another and more tight-knit than in a martial arts community. And you see something like this happen. It's more than likely not going to get any kind of huge press, considering the way people like to paint mixed martial arts, but it's just nice to see. It's just really nice to see people from across the country donating to the fund of someone who they've never met because it's their brother in martial arts. And it's
exactly.
That's just one of the nicer things to see in the world nowadays, especially considering the way people are, the way that mixed martial arts is painted nowadays. It's just a really pleasant thing to be able to see something good go down and know that, people still have a little bit of good left in them. It's nice to see.
It really is.
If I could take any kind of silver lining from this whole injury, it would be that, if not only that I can tell all my students now, don't post your arm when someone tries to slam you because this is what happens to you, but also, just to bring a little bit more positive light to the MMA world and the kind of people that are involved in it and the brotherhood and everything that's involved in it. Because, not only was it just fans, it was also gyms, people who own gyms. Actually, the gym owner, Jason Schultz, he owns the Armory. I was actually fighting one of his students, Rory MacDonald, who's also been a great guy throughout this whole thing, keeping in contact with me. But he actually went out and put together a little fund and selling T-shirts or selling sweaters or something, and
Wow.
actually donated some money to me.
Wow.
Just out of his from his gym, just out of his own pocket. Just no one asked him to, no one said. He just hit me up one day and said, "Hey, I put together this little thing, putting together some stuff for the Sandman, and I sold some shirts." He's like, "It's not much." He's like, "But I figured this would help," and it did, and I really appreciate him for doing that too.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. I talked with your friend Zach when he had contacted the page, about all this going on and stuff. And I made contact with him and, started chatting him up after, this was all going down. And he had sent me a message that really, kind of goes on what you're talking about, the community and how tight-knit and close it is and looking out for people regardless. He was telling me that the first time he had ever met you was weigh-ins for that fight. Yeah. And then, after even, just having chatted over the internet and stuff like that, even after all that, he was the one out there like contacting us, putting up posts and stuff. So, I mean, that shows a lot right there. And that, I mean, not only as far as the MMA community, but, the type of person you and him are as well.
Absolutely. Zach's a great guy. He'll be a friend of mine for a lifetime for everything he's done for me in this whole situation I've been in.
Yeah. Now, off the sad news and stuff like that, some, good news now, how's your recovery going now?
Recovery is going good. I mean, I'm pretty much back to training. I'd say about 80-90%. I'm not going 100%. I still get my ass kicked by my coach, Julian Williams. He actually gave me a birthday present. I just celebrated my birthday on the 1st and decided to go to the gym because that was actually my 5-year anniversary of being at SWAT. I actually started 5 years ago on my birthday. I took my first class with Julian. So it was only right that I came in and got my ass kicked by him again. And I still have a shiner from it. So they definitely they don't view this injury as a weak point of me at all. They still treat me like I'm one of the guys, and it's slowing me down a little bit. I can't fully extend my right arm right now, so I can't really throw a really good right hand. I can throw a mean overhand right now, but nothing straight down the pipe. I actually have a surgery again scheduled sometime in September. My doctor told me I have what's called heterotropic ossification in my elbow, which is just a really long, drawn-out word for extra bone growth inside of my elbow. which is preventing me from fully extending it. It's actually anchored itself to the joint in there, and it's kind of growing through my soft tissue. So they got to cut that out, along with scar tissue that's capsulized because I had to replace the artery inside there, actually severed as well. So they had to put a graft of a new vein in there, and I guess your body tries to capsulize that kind of stuff and protect it so it doesn't tear again. And so they got to go in there and cut out all that scar tissue, and hopefully by this time next year you'll see me back in the cage. That's my whole plan.
Awesome. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Is that something you're looking at? So I mean, yeah, that's awesome. I know I've been, following your progress on Facebook and stuff, and I talked to Robbie a lot about trying to get you on, and it just seemed, you were in a good spot finally, so it kind of worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, back then when at first I could probably say, hey, I'm doing physical therapy. I don't really know what the outcome's going to be. Yeah, now I actually have a lot more to talk about because I actually know what's going on with my elbow and kind of have a little bit of a time scale and when stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a little nicer to talk to you after some, things have kind of, started to turn the corner and are a little more positive anyway. It's
absolutely
probably weren't so chatty right afterward.
No, probably not. I mean, I was a little grumpy, kind of really didn't really know what was going on and what to expect. Honestly, when I was laying in the cage and I looked at my arm, I was like, oh, it's dislocated. I'll be back in action in a month. I didn't realize the extent of everything that I did. I was looking at it maybe like a dislocated shoulder. I didn't realize that I severed an artery, and I didn't really tear any ligaments, which was surprising. It was just the
wow.
dislocation and severed the artery. And if it wasn't for the artery, I'd probably be back in action right now. I mean, that was the biggest healing thing about it.
Yeah.
You could tell you're a very positive guy because the first thing out of your mouth was, well, I didn't get any ligaments. You always look for the positive. It's awesome to hear.
Absolutely. I have to. That's the only way you're going to be able to get to this kind of stuff. And I poke fun at myself all the time, too, and everybody at my gym does. Like I said, when I teach classes at SWAT, I teach all the youth classes. I tell all my students now, we'll be doing break fall drills. So if you don't do this properly, you're going to end up like Coach Shawn. You want this big scar on your arm, blah, blah, blah. And we're actually teaching a rape prevention class at my gym as well. And Coach Jeff used me, or my gym owner Jeff used me as an example as to why somebody wouldn't want to post their arm out because this is what could happen. So he used me to answer another question, which I'm not going to get all into that. But
so you get to be a visual aid in your own gym.
Yeah, absolutely, and I have no problem with that at all. The scar is nasty, but that's all it is. I've got plenty of scars on my body, so.
Yeah, that was one of the things that kind of, I really enjoy following you for, like you just talked about, the stuff you do with kids. Like me and Robbie were talking prior, and that's really big on both of us because we both agreed that we need to teach these kids right coming up, different things like that. And I mean, 90% of the stuff I see you post is, kids. It's about the kids, which is really awesome. So I guess the question is, what kind of stuff are you guys teaching them? For people down in Florida, how can they get a hold of you guys, talk to you guys about it, stuff like that.
Well, to get a hold of us, we have a Facebook page, or Florida Fitness Center, home of SWAT MMA. You can find us on Facebook. We have a website, too. It's floridafitnesscenter.com. As far as what we teach, I teach Mondays and Wednesdays. I have an MMA class for our kids. And basically, I teach them, I don't hold anything back. I teach them everything from wall drills to ground and pound, stand up, Muay Thai, and we haven't really touched on elbows and stuff like that yet because I don't want them doing anything crazy like that. But as real as to the sport as I can make it for them, I do. And I have two really, really good star students I want to actually mention, and one of them is actually competing this weekend at the IKF tournament. Sage Croft, he is a beast. He's a 12-year-old beast, and he gives me a run for my money. Even before my injury, he'd give me a run for my money, stand up and on the ground. This kid I call him my prodigy. He's a phenom, and he hasn't really been doing stand-up for that long. This will be his second IKF tournament. Last year, he went ahead and competed in it, and he only been striking with me for 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So he is going to completely destroy this tournament. come this weekend. And another one is Preston Barber. He is my wrestler. He's gonna go to college on a wrestling scholarship. I can see it now. He came to me and he told me I'm not really good at any sports, Coach Shawn. He's like, I tried baseball, I tried football, I tried soccer, and I kind of suck at all of it. And when he first started with me, he kind of sucked at jiu-jitsu too, but he stuck with it, and he's been, he's persevered, and he's overcome a lot, and he's like I say, he's one of my best students right now, stand up and on the ground. He is a killer.
Awesome, yeah, definitely. I mean, good on you for teaching him, obviously, but best of luck to them. That's...
And remember these names in about 6 or 7 years. These may be some people that we start seeing on some of those big shows.
Exactly.
You're definitely going to be hearing about them. That's for sure.
Amazing. Yeah, that would be cool to see. Now is that? Oh, go ahead, Robbie.
Okay. One of the things that I noticed that you teach the children's classes, and the other class you mentioned that you taught was the rape prevention class. Now, there are a lot of people who are giving rape prevention classes a hell of a lot of flack in the media right now. I'm not sure on the reasoning, but I mean, have you guys caught any blowback from the "we should not have rape prevention classes" crowd?
I haven't heard anything. We actually just had my coach, the owner of my gym, Jeff, has been doing a rape prevention class at West Orange High School for a number of years, which is a high school right around the corner from our gym. Mm-hmm. And he just recently started this year, to try and bring it to our gym. And we had our first seminar here a couple weeks back. As far as any negative feedback, I haven't heard any. All I've heard was positive things, and we had probably at least 50 women show up to that seminar, and they all had a great time.
That's all. I've heard. There's people who will protest anything. That's the best way to put it. People will be against anything. You will always have that group.
I mean, I like me having a daughter that, not necessarily, I don't want her going in there at the age, she's 8 years old right now. And that's not necessarily something I want her exposed to right now, but in a couple of years, for sure, I would send her to that, just for her to be aware. I mean, I'm already taught her a little bit of basic jiu-jitsu, what she'll let me teach her. She doesn't. So she has a basic idea on how to defend herself, but I still want her to be aware, and that's a lot of what the rape prevention seminar was about, was just having people be aware of statistics and where things are more common to happen, and just how to prevent things and kind of stack the odds, for yourself rather than against yourself when you're out and about. And
learning how to keep yourself in keep yourself safe in any kind of situation. I don't see a negative in that. So somebody's gonna have to do a whole lot of selling to get me to buy that. But,
right.
I think it's a great thing that you do with that. I think it's great that you work with the children as well. I mean, I think that, of course, there's always going to be people who are against people working with the children as well. But what are some of the more rewarding things you've gotten out of working, with some of the kids? Like you said, the 12-year-old, he gives you a run for your money, and I mean, to a degree, you can get a lot out of working with some of the children like this.
Absolutely. I mean, it's taught me a lot about myself. It's made me realize that even though I'm not very patient with my own child, I do have some patience with other people's. And just the reward, it basically when I take these kids to compete. Like Preston is another one that comes to mind. He's struggled along these lines, but he's really improved now, and he's on the top of his game right now. But watching him go from where he really didn't know if this is what he wanted to do, and then just watching the progression of him getting more and more confident within himself, to the point now where he steps out on the mat and he's just like, it's just another day in the office for him, and that's what I want to see, rather than that nervous kid I saw 2 years ago, when he gets on the mat. So when I see him go out there and he has confidence in himself, and then he gets his arm raised, and that's rewarding to me. And same thing when it goes to Sage. I've traveled this kid all over the country. We've gone out to California to have this kid fight. He's fought in Pensacola, Florida. His dad's flown him out to Las Vegas to compete in Naga. So he's been all over the country, and just to see him come back, that much more confident, that much more, happy, and just on the path that he wants to be on right now. I'm kind of envious because I wish that I would have been able to have that kind of mindset when I was 12 years old. But in the same aspect, I'm proud and glad to see that he's on this path, and I'm just happy to be a part of it, and to help push him towards his goals. And if one day he becomes a world champion, I could just sit back and say, hey, I used to know that guy, or maybe I still train him. Who knows?
Yeah, that was kind of leading into a kind of two-part question I guess I had. I mean, obviously you're big in the training. That's something that, I mean, just from hearing you talk about it, you really enjoy doing. But I mean, talking about that and your own MMA career, I mean, where do you want to go with your career, and is coaching kind of what you want to do in the long run? Always the exit plan was to kind of establish my name in the MMA world, and then kind of open up my own. I wanted to be able to live off the martial arts, because this is really it's all I do right now with my life. Really, I teach at the gym, and I train every day. I also was fortunate enough to pick up this job from Sage's father. He owns a real estate company, and he hired me on, seeing me struggle, trying to make ends meet, after this injury and everything. I wasn't able to do all the things I was able to do beforehand. So he offered me a job, and I property inspect for him right now. So awesome. I have like 2 or 3 part-time jobs to help me, make ends meet. But absolutely, I want to get back out there. I want to fight. I want to turn pro. I want to have a good long career, and then when I can't do it no more, I'd like to be able to step back and step back into the coaching aspect of it. So I kind of take this as a little bit of a training camp for myself as being a trainer. Mm-hmm. Whether it being God's plan or whatever, however you want to look at it. I got to step away from the cage right now and kind of work on my coaching aspect, which is fine with me. I'm learning more about the sport now that I have to take a step back than I did when I was, just heading forward, charging, picking up fights every couple months. So it's really allowed me to slow down and really learn the mental aspect of this game, of this sport, rather than just the physical grinding aspect of it. Oh, yeah, I can definitely understand that aspect of it. And I mean, obviously you can't look too far in the future. You're talking about going pro. I mean, are you looking to have, 2-3 more fights as an amateur just to, get comfortable with your arm again, or is turning pro something you would rather do sooner than later?
Turning pro is something I probably should have done 4 fights ago. I have 9 amateur fights. Mm-hmm. They only require you to have 5 in the state of Florida. And by that, when I had my 5th fight, I was 4-1. So, yeah, I really could realistically have gone pro back then. But my trainer, Julian, told me to slow down. The sport's not going anywhere. Make sure you learn as much as you can, which, and I'm glad I did. But maybe one more amateur tune-up fight, which, I promised Zach and Jason that if I did, that I was going to fight for breakthrough again. So I might do one of those, and then I've definitely got to step up to the pro level after that.
Awesome. Yeah, obviously that's the ultimate goal, but yeah, one tune-up fight. I mean, after an injury like that, you have to do something like that. So, I mean, there's completely understandable in that. And, I guess we need to give a quick shout out also to Breakthrough. We talk with all those guys all the time, so big shouts out to them as well. What's up, Robbie?
I was gonna say, coming off of an injury, that's definitely understandable. Take a tune-up fight, especially. It's a really kind of grisly injury, guys. I don't. Some of the people listening may have seen it. Some of them may have just not dared click it, and.
I haven't watched the video. I saw enough of it that night. People usually that's how people meet me now. My wife I'll meet people, and my wife will be like, "Hey, yeah, my husband's an MMA fighter. Hey, here, watch his video. He has like one of the top 10 worst arm breaks." I'm like, why every time we got to go to the video? So then I have to walk away for like 5-10 minutes while they watch the video, and then come back. Oh, how'd you like that? Oh my God!
When I was pulling up all our information off our website, that we had posted, I saw the videos on there. I just don't. I didn't even want to look at it. I've already seen it once. I don't want to see it again.
Yeah,
I can imagine your end.
Historical purposes and to have experienced it, I watched once, but yeah, I don't have to revisit that town again.
Yeah.
No.
It's
The closest person besides me was Zach, and he tells me every time I see him, he's like, I can't even watch takedowns or slams anymore. He's like, I have to turn away every time. He's like, you scarred me.
You know what's funny?
He was sitting right there cage side when it happened.
Oh, geez. Yeah, what's
like
funny
I was right
about
in front of him.
Is we were covering the events this weekend, and we do our written play-by-play, and I don't remember off the top of my head what fight it was, but somebody was taking the other guy down, and he posted up, and he was a taller fighter, so his arm was really long when he was posted.
I think it was Roop.
It might have been George Roop, and I cringed. I no BS cringed because I've obviously seen what can happen.
Was that on the UFC card you're talking about?
Yeah, on the UFC card.
I did watch that, and I was sitting there, and I was like, look, he did it too. Like, we got lucky.
Yeah,
I really think the difference was I was right against the cage.
Yeah.
Had that slam happen in the middle, it might have gave my room some room to maybe move the other way, kind of like how his did, or give it some sort of room. But I was right up against the cage, so when my arm planted, my hand had nowhere to go, and so all the pressure went the opposite way out my elbow.
Oh, the cringe.
We usually do like kind of a name association thing with people here, but I kind of have an inclination to abandon it here, just to get your opinion on something you definitely have an authority on right now. What is the worst injury you've seen this year in fighting? It's been a ripe year for injuries. What's the worst one that you've seen? Besides you haven't seen your own, so there you go. Fair enough.
I did see it. I was there,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
honestly,
good point. Good point.
The only one that really comes to mind that I really cringed at was the Anderson Silva leg break, but when he broke his leg, when he kicked Weidman.
Did you see
I no longer throw inside leg kicks anymore now.
Did you see the one that happened this last weekend?
I think I saw a video for it. I didn't watch it.
It was. Don't watch it. It's worse. It's definitely worse.
He tried to walk on it for a second.
Oh, yeah. I have seen that. I have seen I think Quarry Hill when he broke his. I did see that one too.
Yeah, me and Robbie were actually talking. Obviously, the injury thing is big in our conversation because you had a serious one, and prior to getting everything moving, we were talking about worst injuries, and yeah, Quarry Hills was pretty high up on the list.
Yeah.
For some reason, we both feel that Jose Landy Pele, when he did the leg break kick, and Tyrone Spong when he did it, it wasn't as cringeworthy. For some reason, it just wasn't as bad. Quarry Hill, Anderson Silva, and this guy this past weekend, that was insane. That was just bad.
Yeah.
But
just the slow-mo of Anderson Silva, the way his foot wraps around Weidman's leg.
Oh, the feet arm hug.
The feet arm, yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we laugh about it, but obviously it's pretty bad.
You gotta laugh about it. You might get a little vomit in your mouth or something if you don't. You got to joke about it.
Yes.
What obviously down in Florida there's a lot of fighters fighting out of there. Is there certain this is one of the things we like to do as well. Is there certain fighters that you gravitate more towards watching, and who was your favorite fighters as you were coming up?
As far as amateur fighters or professional fighters, you talking about?
I mean, you could talk about both.
Well, I really for the professional guys, I mean, I really watch anybody that comes out of American Top Team because I really know a lot of those guys. ATT Orlando, Longwood, Jose Figueroa, Julian Williams, who's my trainer. He just came back from Russia. He fought for M1 Global here a couple of months ago.
Yep, I remember the fight.
So any of those guys, Trent McDade, I always want to watch him fight. He's always an entertaining fighter. He always is he's forward. I've actually sparred with him before. And I'm really glad that we were just sparring and it wasn't all out fighting because even sparring, he goes about 98%. And he's a big, strong dude, and his work ethic is second to none. We're friends on Facebook, and he's always posting up. He runs at least 5 miles a day at night. You know, he's out doing road work all the time, so he's always another one that I like to watch. Hey, what was the second question? I'm sorry.
Who, like when you were coming up, when you were growing up, when you first got
when I was coming up, yes. Yeah. My very first fight that I ever watched, and this is actually another one, Dean Thomas and BJ Penn was the very first MMA fight that I had seen. And right after that fight, BJ Penn was my dude. You know, and it was really hard to watch him in this fight this past weekend, but that he's been my dude for a long time, and he always will. That'll always be one of the things that I want to do is fly out to Hawaii and get to train with BJ Penn. That would be like the dream vacation for me, just to go roll with that guy.
Yeah, that was all of us admins at TNS we're pretty big BJ Penn fans. We've all been fans of MMA for quite some time and know what BJ brought to MMA. So that was it was pretty terrible to watch that.
It was hard to watch. I don't think anybody had a fun time watching that one, and it's a shame because Frankie's a great fighter. Not taking anything away from Frankie, but anybody who did that to BJ Penn in his final fight, regardless of his wacky stance, they're gonna get flack. Like, I love BJ, but I don't know what happened with that stance. That was some interesting.
When I looked at it, I mean, I kind of gave him credit for it the first round. I was like, oh, maybe he's trying to be like Benson Henderson, because it kind of looked like Benson's stance, just with no action at all.
Just pawing out
no action at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was oof.
Yeah, it was pretty painful.
BJ Penn fight.
One of the other things we do is, we're starting to near the end is, we like to give, who we're talking to just a chance to, give their shout outs. Obviously you talked about your 2 kids you got up and coming, but, any shout outs, anything you want to plug out there, websites, anything, pretty much the floor is yours.
I definitely want to give a shout out to all my training partners up at SWAT, the Julian Williams, Jeff Montalbano, Eric Gardner, Get Money Jones. I know he's gonna kill me if I don't say his name on here. I had to mention my wife. My wife, Heather Valentin, has been phenomenal and just been my right hand man or woman, whatever you want to call it. She's helped me tremendously throughout this whole my whole career. She's been at every fight. She's taken me to every weigh-in. She's suffered with me through weight cuts, and she's dealt with me when I'm at my worst. And most people think I'm a pretty nice guy, and they don't see the dark side of me. What seems like 90% of the time she has to deal with that side of me. So I definitely want to say a big thank you to her. We actually just celebrated our 7-year wedding anniversary here on Monday.
Yeah, so, I saw that. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you very much. I just want to say I love her. My daughter Paige, who's also my biggest fan, and she can't wait for me to get back in the cage. She tells me that every day, that she can't wait for me to fight again. That's it.
Awesome. Yeah, the wives, they tend to see everybody at their worst.
Actually, also too, my mom, my dad, my brother Chris, my whole family, they've all helped me through this. They've all been, tremendous, crutches for me when I needed them the most. So I love them all. Thank you all very much. All the fans, you guys, everybody who's ever said anything nice to me, wrote me a message. I love and appreciate all you guys. And I can't wait to get back out there and put on a show for everybody back in the cage.
Oh yeah, that's something I think we're all excited for. I know, when all this was going down, me and Pat were kind of the main steps, talking with you guys about it. Me and him, our first podcast that we did talking about it, it was something that we were both pretty bent out of shape about, seeing something happen like that. Somebody like you, you're a nice guy. You try and help all the kids out. You never want to see anything like that. So it's good to see that, things are back on track, basically.
Absolutely.
Robbie,
they're getting there.
Yeah, they're getting there. Robbie, you got one last one?
Now that there's looks like there's a light at the end of the tunnel or anything, would you consider, or a rematch with the man, their gym, put out put out some shirts and helped you out and stuff. Would you consider redoing the fight, or is that one you want to stay? Is that one kind of done?
The fight with me and Rory, that was supposed to go down completely differently. Win, lose, or draw. We were good friends before the fight. We're still good friends now. He actually works as a surgical tech at the hospital I was at Halifax Hospital. He would come up, literally, he would come up on his lunch breaks, and we'd sit there and we'd chat for an hour. We'd talk. Like I said, we were friends before the fight, and at weigh-ins, when we were squaring off, I was like, let's make this a good one, buddy. He's like, hell yeah, let's make it a good one. And we probably made it too good with the arm break. Absolutely, that's never crossed my mind to not want to fight him again. I definitely want to just put on a show with him, win, lose, or draw. Just without the arm break, I definitely want to fight Rory, and I know he's going pro right now, so it's gonna take a little bit of work into me getting back up there to the pro level, and but I'm more than sure that he'll give me the fight, and I'm more than sure that I'll take the fight. So there's a pretty good possibility that you'll see an every Valentin in the future.
Awesome. That would be a fun one to watch. It's pretty good.
Definitely deserving of a mulligan, if you will.
Absolutely. I'll get a mulligan on that one, and we'll do a redo here in a couple years.
Hit reset.
That's right.
He ripped it, yes.
So, yeah, that would be a good one. I'm excited for that one.
Me too.
Yeah, is there I guess we'll lead out with this, a dream fight. Obviously you talked about BJ Penn. But if there was one guy that, you turn pro, you win 4 or 5 fights, get the UFC, win 4 or 5, and there's one guy that's out there now that you would love to just step in the cage with and see what you can do, who would that be?
Definitely looking at the top of the flyweights, which is my division. I definitely would want to take out DJ. I would love to get the flyweight title around my waist, even if it was just for one fight. I definitely would want to fight him. Another one, I want to fight Ian McCall. I want to fight him.
Uncle Creepy, yeah.
Uncle Creepy, I want to fight him. He's actually been one of my favorite guys, too. He's one of my favorite flyweights. It would just be an honor just to step in the cage with him. And, if I wouldn't lose or draw there either, it would just be a great experience to go in there and fight him. Another one would be John Dotson. I actually met him at a Bellator fight. And we kicked it and we chilled it for like a couple hours. Had some drinks. We were in the same. Well, obviously I knew what weight class he was in, but he found out I was a fighter and I was a flyweight, and we joked around and we wrestled around a little bit. And I'd love to fight that guy too. He's a great guy too.
Dodson's. He always comes off as a good guy.
I don't think anybody dislikes Dodson. You'd be pretty hard pressed to find that guy. The guy who dislikes John Dodson.
Yeah, you might have to look kind of long and hard for that one.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. You see all those guys that are at the top of the flyweights. I would love to fight any of them. Just to have my name mentioned with those guys would be great.
Oh, hopefully it happens. It's, I obviously, I try and pay attention to all the amateur fights. You don't really get to see them all, but having had all this happen, it kind of helped to figure out, actually find out who you were. And it's not out of the realm of possibilities by any means. So, hopefully we do get to see you there, and hopefully one day we're calling your fights.
That would be awesome.
You never know what the future holds. And, with this, an injury like this happening, early on in your career, you could press on. You end up doing so many things, facing this kind of adversity. And that could be, that would be a hell of a story. Just any kind of light at the end of a tunnel after any kind of injury. If you break your thumb, you're looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. This was this was the kind of thing that usually would devastate somebody into probably considering just not even doing it anymore. And just the fact that you were, you sacked up and, you did it. You're going to keep on keeping on. That's the kind of thing that, that resonates with people. just wanted to say it was really awesome to talk to you, especially knowing that, you just kept pressing forward and you had better things to do than quit.
Oh, absolutely. Quit's never crossed my mind at all. I've had plenty of doctors and plenty of people tell me how crazy I am, to continue to pursue this, but I never want to live with regret in my life, and I just know that if I walk away from it now, that's pretty much all I'll deal with. So, if anything, I'm going to try my hardest, and nothing bad can come out of that. I've never experienced anything bad. I've given my 100 and everything, so I'm going to continue to do that.
Exactly. And see that, that right there is why, I feel that you do so good with kids, is that attitude right there. That's not something you find in a lot of people, that great attitude to have. And, damn, that's a good note to, end this on. And, like Robbie said, we really appreciated having you on. It was definitely a treat. And
absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And fight fans, with that, we will catch you on the flip side and talk to you next time. Peace.